Hi students, I'm going to go through with you the strategy to manage your end of year exam paper. Now this is an important lesson, probably one of the most important one because it is going to help you have a mental preparation of what are you going to do with the time given and what is the first step, second step, third step or whatsoever. Alright, and this particular video is for G2 students, so take note it is for G2 students only. First of all of you need to be very clear about the format of the examination, and there are some changes being made. So all of you, please take note of the following. The first thing is that instead of a 50 marks question, you are given 44 marks question only. One of the questions has been taken out from the exam paper. As a result, it is only 44 marks. But yet, the good thing is, you are still given the full duration, which is 1 hour and 45 minutes, which adds up to 105 minutes. If you have noticed your exam schedule that has been given to your parents, under the G2 students, it is indicated as an e-examination format. What does that mean? It basically means that all of you will be seated in front of a school laptop and you will be given the hard copy question paper. You will be given the hard copy SS question paper and you will be typing the answers into the laptop and submit it using whatever platform that has been given to you. Now, for section A format, which is your SBQ, usually it is a 35 marks question in total, but now it is 29 marks only. And for all of you to understand, the first question is usually the inference question, which is a 5 marks question, followed by comparison question between two sources, and that will be 7 marks, reliability question of a particular source as well, that will be 7 marks, and finally the new thing, which I will be teaching you more in depth, is called the evaluative question, 10 marks. Now, it is really a good thing that you are given this because I think with a little bit of practice, you should be able to get 8 out of 10 easily as compared to the other sources, as compared to the other SBQ questions. Now, for section B, which is your SRQ, it will be a total of 15 marks. Your first SRQ question will be a 7-mark question, and your second SRQ question will be an 8-mark question. So what is missing in section A will be your purpose question. Instead of having a separate purpose question, you will notice that purpose is already in comparison and purpose is already in reliability. Why? Because the third paragraph of comparison is actually comparing the purpose of the two sources, whether they are the same or whether they are different. And for reliability, the third paragraph is about using purpose to determine whether the source is reliable or not. Time allocation. Now, what is this about? The first thing that you need to know is you make sure you have something that helps you to monitor the time taken to do your work. If you don't have a clear view of the clock in the classroom, I suggest you bring a timer on your watch so that you can time yourself and pace yourself to make sure that you do not overshot the duration allocated for each section. How are we going to break down the 1 hour and 45 minutes, which is the 105 minutes? So first of all, the 10 to the 15 minutes, you will spend the time to do quick reading and basic planning of SBQ, reading of the background information, and of course to read and plan source A to E. The next part is you are going to spend the bulk of the time, which is 60 minutes, to answer all 4 SBQ questions. And the last 30 minutes you will be spending on the 2 SRQ questions. Have you ever wondered why the social studies paper is organized in a certain sequence? Now, as all of you will know, the first page will usually be your cover page, where you will have to write down your name, your class, or rather your LG, and the date. Followed by, the next part will be the source-based questions. That means before you even see the sources, you already see the source-based questions. Now, there is a reason for that, because the first thing that you are going to do is to indicate what are the questions being asked. Like the first question is an inference question, second question is a comparison question, for instance. So before you even have the background information and the sources, you're already looking at the questions. So the next part is the background information, and finally you will see the 5 different sources, source A to E. Later on after this, you will know why the SS paper is being organized in a certain sequence, because it wants you to do planning in the following sequence as well. Based on the sequence that I mentioned earlier on, you notice that the first thing that comes out is your 4 source-based questions. So what are you going to do here regarding the source-based question? Of course, the first thing is to understand which is which. So for instance, question 1, you know that, oh, this is an inference question. Please write it down. Write down that it's an inference question, and for inference question, you need 2 PE, so just indicate it there. And then for the second question, oh, study source C and D, you know it is a comparison question already, and please write down there you need a 3 PEE to score full marks. And then the third question, it is a reliability question, so you write it down as well beside it and note down it's 3 PEE. And finally, the fourth question, it is a evaluative question. You will need around 4 to 5 paragraphs to score full marks. 4 paragraphs you can get 8 marks, 5 paragraphs you can get full marks. The following thing is your background information. What is the purpose of it? Now, background information is important for you to understand the context, because when we set a SS paper, it might not necessarily be a Singapore case study or whatsoever. It might be something in the US. For instance, in 2022, West Spring set a question on US gun law. And then imagine you never read the background information. How are you going to make sense of the sources? So it really matters, especially when the case study has nothing to do with Singapore, and you find it so foreign, you find it so unfamiliar. Okay? So let's go to the sources now. Source A. Oh, I remember that the earlier question 1, it says source A is an inference question. So I will note down inference. Okay, I will make sure I label it properly. Similarly, I remember they didn't mention anything about source B. So I will just put down not applicable yet, probably for evaluative, because evaluative requires to read all the sources. And then source C. Oh, source C, I remember they asked me to compare source C and source D. So I indicated it as comparison. So yes, source D is also comparison. So C and D comparison, and finally source E, I will write down beside the source, it is a reliability question. Now, why do I need to annotate all this thing down? Because sometimes the students under exam pressure do the wrong questions. They might be comparing between, instead of C and D, they compare D and E. Instead of doing reliability for E, they're going to do reliability for D. It happens in WA2, and I don't want to see that again. So are we done with the planning? No, not yet. Because the evaluative question, we have not planned it yet. Now, you have to start doing it in the beginning, because you already ran through one time what the sources are about. So this is still within the first 15 minutes. So first of all, look at the evaluative question, which is stated here. In all evaluative question, you will find a statement, a claim for you to agree or disagree, a claim for you to find the two ends of the extreme. So for instance, in this case, migrant workers are treated well in Singapore. So what are two sides of the argument? Migrant workers are well treated in Singapore. Migrant workers are badly treated in Singapore, right? So with these two sides of the argument, what you need to do is to go back to the sources again. So for instance now, source A. Oh, are migrant workers treated well here? Well, they are being appreciated in a dinner by the Yishun residents. So yes, they are well treated. So let's move on. Source B. Source B, wow. The MUIS respond so quickly to the Muslim migrant community. Well done. So, and they are also accepted to pray in the same space as Singaporean Muslims in the mosque. So good. They are well treated. They will always be stand up by the authorities will always stand up for them when they are when anything bad happened to them. Now, source C. Is source C shows that they are well treated? Don't think so because they are. It seems that the companies are so keen on making money and not wanting to prioritize their safety. So no, foreign workers are not well treated. Migrant workers are badly treated. Source D, wow, Tomiko. So what did he say? So he says that, wow, how can we be treating them this way? They should be having seats and seat belt instead of being sitting on the lorries. Which this is a first world country which abolished practices. So he's actually angry towards how migrant workers are being treated. So migrant workers are treated badly in Singapore. And finally, source E, the presidential candidate, also complaining that why are we treating the migrant workers so badly? It is so inhumane to do it that way. So migrant workers are treated badly. So you see, what happened is the first 15 minutes of planning requires you to look through all the SBQ and indicate which is which question. And then after that, look through all the sources and indicate which source is meant for what kind of question. Like source A is for inference, source B is for whatever, source C, and so on and so forth. But you have not completed the planning yet until you look into the evaluative question. So the evaluative question, the statement, find the statement, identify the two ends of the argument, then look through all the sources and indicate is it the left side of the argument or the right side of the argument? And in this case, it's about migrant workers treated well, migrant workers treated badly. And that will be all for the first 15 minutes. So in summary, what will you be doing within the first 15 minutes? First of all, when you are looking at the SBQ, you will need to indicate down the type of skills needed for each question. So which is to note down inference, comparison, reliability, and evaluative. Indicate down how many PEE you need to write down as well. Next, you read the background information to help you make sense of the 5 given sources next. Then slowly go to all the different sources, source A to source E. And beside every single source, you indicate what kind of skills is needed. So for instance, just like what I've shown you, source A is actually on inference, source B is on nothing yet, source C and D is on comparison, source E is on reliability, and for evaluative, it is for all the questions. Then after that, you will go back to the SBQ, the last evaluative question. Identify the key statement, the key argument, or the key claim. From there, you point out the two ends of the statement, the argument, or the claim. And in this case, is migrant workers are well treated, migrant workers are badly treated. Now, using the two ends of the extreme, you decide on each source. What is the source telling you? You need to quickly, from the source, you need to quickly find out, oh, this source is showing migrant workers badly treated. That source is showing migrant workers well treated. Okay? Now, what if you get stuck in one of the sources? Like, oh, I cannot decide whether is it either well treated or badly treated. Then skip. Doesn't matter. Just skip. at least in your mind, you already unpack a lot of things. So when you are going to do the writing, your brain is already heated up, it's already warm up for it. All right, so this is what you can do within the first 15 minutes, and I would like you to practice and to do it well.